Welcome to the Crafty Boys because we're live. Welcome to the latest episode of the COVID Crafty Boys. Here we are. It's Thursday. We didn't stream yesterday because it's Dave's fault.
I blame Dave.
Yeah, it was totally Dave's fault. Other than that, we're doing it today because we can, and we're adults. We can do these things whenever we so feel it's necessary or something.
Totally.
How's it going, boys?
Very well.
Good.
And do you have beer?
I do. I have the beer that I was going to drink last night. In fact, last night I rushed out to go and search for a beer, especially to have last night, and get home to find the text from Dave saying, I'm not feeling well. I'm not going to do it tonight.
And then we all arrived late and you were gone. So
what beer did you go out and find?
What beer did I go out and find? Well, I keep hearing people talk about Superflux.
Yes.
And I've never tried anything from Superflux, and they've had a few things there. So I got Velvetone, which is their double IPA.
Huh. That looks...
This is the can.
Very cool.
Yes, it does look very cool. According to the label here, where does it say? It comes in at 8%.
Nice.
Powerful. And that's about it. Ingredients. It's really hard to read the ingredients because the label is multicolored. So, and I'm going to show my age here. Ingredients include water, malt, yeast, and hops. And Superflux beer.
Okay.
Or no, that's their email address.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I need it.
Show me the can one more time.
This is the can here.
That's the I like that one. That one's a good one.
Yeah. I like double IPA
because you're not going to regret it.
All right. So here we go.
Locke,
we're opening.
what are you drinking?
Okay, so I, this evening, am drinking Grand Terrestrial Rhapsody. This is another Flying Monkeys product. You know what I think of those guys.
Yes, you like them a lot.
Barrie, Ontario. They're eccentric. Their art style is overtly psychedelic, which I find amusing. This is an 8.1% alcohol per volume beer, brewed with pineapple. Now, I tried a pineapple heavy hitter about a month or two ago. From, I think it's called, what was it, the Big Kahuna or something.
Yeah.
And what impressed me about that beer was that for all that it was brewed with pineapple juice, it tasted very much pleasingly of beer. I was curious.
It's very important for that to happen.
So I was curious to find out what this was going to be like. This is not that beer.
No.
Actually, this is sort of back to the sort of. It's another round of fruit punch, I'm afraid. But that said, it's an interesting concoction. Ingredients include water, malted barley, hops, wheat, yeast, natural pineapple flavor, natural pineapple puree. They talk extensively about the hops they use, and I will say that the hops have a pretty nice balance to them. So Nelson Sauvin, Galaxy,
nice,
Grapefruit Bright Idaho 7. And basically this it's a bright, as I say, somewhat too much like fruit punch to me, but a bright, flavorful beverage that
Oh, I gotta get my beer.
Yes, Shane, go get your beer.
It doesn't have any sort of sickly sweet aftertaste.
Right.
Clean finish. So yeah, all things considered, maybe not the most exciting thing I've ever seen out of Flying Monkeys, but still pretty good.
Okay. Cool. While we're waiting for Shane to get his beer, I'll give you a bit of a rundown on this here. This right here, may be the best beer I've ever had.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So this is a double IPA. It's got that fruit juicy kind of flavor to it, and I know that's something that you're kind of getting sick of, Locke.
I mean, it's just to death, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, wow, is the flavor profile complex and have a depth to it. Too many times I've had an IPA, and yeah, it has that sort of like that IPA bite to it.
Yeah,
but it seems like it kind of like you hit the edge of the cliff and then there's nothing, right? This here it's just so complex and there's so much depth to the flavor profile that it just goes on and on and on. It's interesting every single gulp, and every single gulp is like trying a brand new beer.
Okay, you're saying very intriguing things. What are some of the beers that you've had that you would compare this to?
I would compare this to Fresh Squeezed.
Okay, yep.
I would compare this to what was the one that I did last week? I did that Super Sacco looking thing from Moody Ales.
Yeah.
Super Simcoe.
Yep.
That was similar, but not on the same level as this. Not anywhere close. And up to this point, I would say Fresh Squeezed is probably the best beer that I've ever had.
That's Fresh Squeezed by Deschutes for anyone.
That's right. And this rivals that easily.
Very cool.
So, Shane, you've been away,
yes.
So I'll get you up to speed. This right here is the best beer I've ever had.
Wait, sorry, back up. Let's hear that again. Can you say that?
It's the best beer I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
Although that might be because it tastes like Deschutes Fresh Squeezed, but
maybe. Now I haven't had Fresh Squeezed in probably a couple of years, or no, maybe a year. And I'd be interested to sort of get it again and do a side-by-side comparison.
Right.
And that's something I might do, actually. Now, I don't know if this is a limited, if the Velvet Tone is a limited thing, or if that's...
My understanding of Superflux is pretty much everything they do is limited. Like they're effectively a brewery without a brew house. They do sort of they borrow other people's brew houses and they use mobile canning lines to get the product out. Isn't that right?
That's how they started. I understand that they now have an actual place to go, or like where they actually have a location now.
Yeah.
And a tasting house, which I think is still roughly. It's actually, I think it's like Hastings and Clark.
Hastings and Clark. Okay, that's more respect.
Yeah, so about 7-8 blocks from Strangefellows. So it's not too far away.
Yeah.
So it's right within that zone of where all the breweries are setting up shop. Like a lot of them are setting up shop because there's like industrial buildings that have been empty for a long time.
Yeah.
Actually, Bomber is in a building that used to be a fish factory of some sort, a fish processing company. So, I have a dog thing to report this week. My older dog has figured out how to put herself to bed. So at around, so it's like at 9:20, 9:30, she's now climbing the stairs to go to bed. It's adorable.
Wow. So what beer are you drinking, Shane?
Well, I drank
because the past two beers you've had have been kind of disappointing, you've said, and really expensive.
Yeah, so I've decided never to drink beer again. I've been wrecked. I can't survive. I had the Kevin Smith infused beer.
So if you can't drink beer anymore, I guess you're gonna have to just have Budweiser.
The real question,
I guess, because Budweiser's not beer. But tonight I will be enjoying this concoction, which is I call it Dragon Juice. It is our homemade cider, which essentially is about 7 to 8%, and it tastes like cider. So there you go.
Nice.
But sadly, I drank my beer, and I
have no rule against cider being part of a craft brew show, especially if it's homebrew.
Exactly, and we have a lot of it. So
there's a number of craft cideries here on Vancouver Island that are really have grown in popularity. Like say Maridale.
Old Scrumpy is my favorite product of theirs.
Right. Okay. I haven't really delved too deeply into it. I'll be honest with you guys. I have never had a cider that I actually enjoyed.
Really?
Really. But I'd be interested in trying some more craft cideries.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, that's not true. So Maridale did put out a limited one. It was called Apple Pie. And it was my wife's, actually, and I had a little sip of it. And wouldn't you know it, I mean, it tasted like an apple pie.
Then I pulled her pigtails and pushed her down and drank it for myself.
No, it didn't quite go like that. Why, did she tell you that?
Maybe. I don't know what you're talking about.
Because whatever she's telling you, it's not true. She's lying.
He drank all my cider. Well, I got to say, I'm very pleased that you have found a beer in the Superflux.
It's very good. I'm interested in trying more stuff from Superflux now. Although it's kind of expensive. I mean, this tall can, was $5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for a 473 ml can, I think. But I mean, if the beer is really, really good, then it's worth it, right? I'm not going to start buying this exclusively. I'm still going to stick with my Fat Tugs. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
And Fat Tug is very good. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is like my go-to. As far as go-to quality beers go, it is my favorite. But for a special thing, this is certainly very, 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 very nice. What a change.
Cool.
Look at that. It looks like a glass of orange juice.
It
is.
Yeah.
Oh, Julian has showed up.
Oh, he has he?
Yeah.
He wrote us a novel. Cheers from Nelson Island. Stop. Went to Alice Stairs and drank all afternoon with he and Lou. Stop.
Oh, man, no. Bobbing in a...
What?
Basically, he had it was a rough sea today, which doesn't surprise me because about, I don't know, 2 o'clock or so, it suddenly went really dark outside and started to rain.
Huh.
So rough sea, the boat snapped both dock lines, was swept away. We chased it down in the dark and found it bobbing in a bay. Not in the worse for wear. But this is the more important part of his story. I have brewed some real ale here, but not bottled yet. So there we go.
Good. Excellent.
But overall, I gotta say, beer is good. Having more than one favorite is also good as well. I got to say, if it's a contender against Fat Tug, I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So what's going on in the news, guys?
What's going on in the news? Well, apparently everyone's tired and sick of all of the this whole pandemic thing, and they just want it to all go away. That's the first thing I read.
Did you guys see that Disney has created a real working lightsaber? Did you see the video of it?
I did not.
You look for it and put it on this thing.
Say a real working lightsaber.
Yeah, like it doesn't cut or anything. Like you're not gonna be able to sever like a Wampa's arm with it.
It doesn't work like that. You can't stick it into.
No, but you can actually. You have the handle.
Yeah.
Press the button and a blade actually extends. Not like some cheap blade, like plastic thing that goes. It's like it actually goes. And then.
Okay, I have found it.
Huh. Okay, let's see this thing in action.
So here we are. Bring this baby up.
Cracker. She's super low.
Looks like a lightsaber. Sounds like a lightsaber.
It does. I don't understand how that works. You see, you realize that this is going to start to put this is going to start to put special effects companies out of business, because instead of creating actual spaceships with like 3D graphics or whatever, they'll just build real spaceships, and so there'd be no need for those special effects people anymore. I actually feel quite sorry for them. They should unionize and march about that.
They should. But I want one of these lightsabers.
It is fucking cool looking, isn't it?
It is.
Well, I gotta say, my suspicion is that it comes out of the hilt somewhat, but that's a pretty not.
It's
long
kind of
hilt
sounds to me
thing,
like it's, the technology where you've got like foldable LCD screens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of similar technology to that, where it's sort of like it's a screen or something, or LED lights that roll up. It's flexible.
Well, have you seen the plasma blade lightsaber?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Well, speaking of lightsabers, I'll just bring this up because it was actually in my suggested video list. So essentially, this is So this blade here is actually. Let's try to bounce forward here. Like, it takes a lot of power to run it. And he spends a lot of time describing how it actually works. But here you go.
So basically, it's like flame.
But it's a bit more complex. He does go into a lot more detail. But essentially, then they go through how exactly it was built, what's needed to run the thing, and then they actually do some tests to.
So it looks to me like it's like an acetylene torch or something.
Somewhat, yeah. So anyway, they actually do a demonstration about how they, break stuff essentially.
Right.
Yeah. But I gotta say, it's very cool. It's an interesting watch. But the most important thing I thought we should discuss, speaking of beer news,
okay,
is the reality that Queen Elizabeth now has her own beer.
What?
That's what a lot of people said. So
I can't imagine Queen Elizabeth going out and sort of like creating her own recipe and stuff. She's just lending a name to it.
Well, but hold on. Think about what her son does. Duchy Organics.
Elaborate.
Charles, Prince of Wales.
Yeah. I'm familiar with him.
I mean, he's had his own brewery for years, and he actually supplies his own hops. He's vertically integrated with his farm.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no, Dutchy Organics is a real thing, and you know, if he doesn't always,
so he's in there, sort of like, you know, batch sparging and pitching yeast, and
I would think so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know exactly how involved he gets, but he doesn't do a lot else. So I imagine he has some actual experience there.
Right.
But I don't know. I kind of like the idea of the Queen dabbling in this kind of thing because,
wonderful,
quite honestly, I mean, they've been making booze for a long time.
Well, you know, she's got to have a fallback plan, right? Because I mean, she can't be queen forever. I mean, eventually she's going to have to retire and get into something else. That was a joke. You guys were supposed to laugh at that. Because when she retires, she'll be dead.
That's very true. I mean,
are you?
She's 94. If she follows in her mom's footsteps, she's got at least another 6 years going. So yeah, I think that she'll be around for a little bit longer. But hey, shut up, Cameron. So there you go. So I mean, that's really the biggest news that I mean. There's not a lot of really cool things going on. There's the one thing, actually, probably another thing worth mentioning is there's a brewery in New Jersey that is giving people free beer if they go and get vaccinated. I thought that was cool. Why not get blitzed, get a vaccine, or vice versa? I would imagine. But are you? Would you be willing to take free beer if you had to go get? You know, it's like the reward was, hey, get vaccinated, then you can have some free beer.
Yeah, I mean, I got vaccinated without free beer, so
there you go.
Yeah.
What? When is your next shot? Because you got the AZ, right?
No, I got the Pfizer.
Did you get the Pfizer? By the way, BC had its first over the weekend. Had over this week, had their first person that was blood clotting from AstraZeneca.
Yeah,
apparently.
Yeah. 1 out of what? 2
1
million?
out of how many exactly?
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I better check my email. Maybe my booking request is happening. No, it's not yet. I think I think my age group isn't until next week. Come to think of it.
Yeah. My second shot will probably come, I want to say, early to mid-July.
Yeah.
If my math is right, because I did it about, I want to say, about 5 weeks ago. So,
is there a set time between the first and second shots that needs to transpire in order for them to be effective?
Yeah. So the manufacturers say, what do they say? I think they say 6 weeks, but studies have shown that you can stretch it out to 16 weeks. So that's what we're doing here in BC. We are giving as many people as possible the first shot, and then they can wait 16 weeks for the second one. So,
yeah, because right now the us age group people here can get. I think the Pfizer has arrived, the Moderna has arrived, so you get one of those two. And my assumption is that it will. I think it'll be next week because right now, I think it's 49 and older.
Mm-hmm.
So next week is supposed to drop to 44 or something along those lines. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take it when I get scheduled. I think the AstraZeneca one is fine, but I don't want it really. But so yeah,
The AstraZeneca was fine. People are reporting getting more side effects with that one.
I've read that too, and I don't know. I'm skeptical.
My wife got the AstraZeneca one, and she was laid out in bed for 3 days after.
Well,
It
I mean
was that
that's
bad. She hasn't been that sick in a long, long time.
Hmm.
I don't
well, I
want to
know that's
discourage anybody from getting it, and even though she was that sick, she's still going to go get her second shot when it comes time.
well, yeah. I mean the I've had a couple of people that I know that have had their shots, and they got the Pfizer ones, and they were laid out for a day or two afterwards.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? I mean, I was laid out for a day after I got my flu shot last year, which I was surprised at, because the next day I'm like, oh god, I feel horrible. I just want to lie on the couch all day and just die. Like, what the hell? And then, about halfway through the day, I was like, oh wait a minute, I got my vaccine yesterday for the flu. So
now here's the thing, that the COVID shot, it could end up being something that's similar to the flu shot, where you have to have it every year.
Well, I've already kind of assumed that, but
well, so I mean, I had a really bad experience the other day where I was absolutely laid out, and I felt lethargic. I couldn't motivate myself to get off the couch and to start my day, and I was feeling quite groggy, and all of my muscles were sort of stiff and seizing up, and then I had my morning coffee. That made a lot of
that made a huge difference. Yeah, I was gonna say, pretty awful. I mean, I feel like that every morning these days.
Yeah.
Well, actually, honestly, like today, I actually had a bit of a low mental day because I got a lot done, but I still, at the end of the day, felt like a bit of a dick. Like, I'm not getting enough done. What the hell's wrong with me? And of course, then you turn to someone nearby and you're like, I feel like an idiot, and they're like, shut up, you moron. Everyone feels like an idiot right now. We're in a pandemic.
It's true. It really is. So here's my situation right now. So you guys know this. Other people watching maybe don't know. I work in a cancer treatment place, and our issue right now is all those people who had little symptoms and stuff a year ago and said, I'm not going to bother getting this checked out because of COVID right now, and I don't want to go see my doctor about it. Suddenly now all those things are becoming more urgent. And all the referrals are coming through that should have come through months ago are coming through all now. We are just being bombarded with referrals for new patients right now. Yeah. And it's getting really hairy. Not only that, because BC's COVID response is so much better than other provinces, we are getting cancer patients from across Canada moving here because they have a better chance of survival here and not getting COVID. And because of the Constitution and everything that allows people to move freely across the country anytime they want, we have to accept them. So we're getting a whole bunch of referrals from Ontario, Quebec, in addition to the avalanche of referrals we're getting here in BC as well. So yeah, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels and I'm working. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't surprise me with the whole referral thing coming in now. I mean, when I broke my foot on the 27th of December, or the 28th, something like that, one of the two. And I was apparently I should have been able to go there and see the bone guy and then leave, because there's not a whole lot they can do. You break a bone generally and you're not in any danger, they kick you out, because it's like, look, you got to wait for a week or two for all your tissues to not be inflamed, because we're not going to fix you today. But it took me like quite a while. Like I think I got in at like 2 o'clock and left at like 9 or something, because they said, yeah, you picked the worst day to do this, because this is the after Christmas surge. And I'm like, what do you mean the after Christmas surge? And they said, well, people fall down on like the 23rd, 24th, 25th. They break something. They wait it out over Boxing Day because they don't want to go in on Boxing Day. And then they start coming into the 27th. It's like, no, my arm just keeps hurting. It's like, well, you broke your arm, you idiot. When'd you break? Oh, 4 days ago. Well, yeah, it should have come 4 days ago. I'm sorry to have wrecked Christmas, but still. But anyway, it was yeah. I can't. Keep drinking, Julian. By the way, Julian did ask us a question earlier that I haven't really ignored here, but he wants to know when we're all going to come to Nelson Island to do the show.
Well, rowing around in jeeps and boats and cutting down trees and roasting meat on fires sounds like my cup of tea. So,
I think this summer, in theory, we should all be vaccinated by, say, July, August. So, hey, Julian, if you're going to be up there in July and August, let's make it happen. Because that way we can all go up there and drink beer and pee on his lawn and stuff.
So Nelson Island is just north of Powell River, isn't it? Is that right?
Of Madeira Bay, which is basically if you drive to, if you get onto the North Shore, so you get to Gibson's and you drive north.
So basically, for me,
the very end.
So basically, for me, I would go up to Courtney and take the ferry across the Powell River and then go up from there.
No.
Oh my god.
I don't think so. Because Powell River is actually south of Nelson, or is north of Nelson Island.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was south.
Well, basically, in order for you to get to where he lives, he'll have to pick us up in his boat, because there's no way to get there otherwise.
Oh.
Unless I'm actually curious, does Harbor Air like make custom stops? Like, I want to land there. That's where I want to go.
They
do.
I suppose if you offer to pay enough.
I don't know. I never really thought of that till just now. But I've not been there myself, which is stupid. I should have gone last year. But it's basically he's got some nice oceanfront property, a couple of little buildings and stuff like that. It would be great. You could pass out anywhere and not fear being eaten by anything. So,
Do you guys sail?
I used to have a sailing boat, actually.
No,
one time.
I've never even been on a sailing boat. Now I've been on like little outrigger boats with like a little outboard motor and that kind of thing, and also larger boats, of course. But I've never been on a sailboat,
right?
Specifically,
I've always, a few years back, we started thinking about going on a cruise. And I was thinking about, what kind of cruise I'd like to go on. And we thought I like the Disney cruise boats. Those are my favorite, of course. But still, there are other cruise lines out there. And one cruise line that I hope has survived COVID is called Silver Seas, I think. And a lot of the ships they have are actually small. Like we're talking like, dual mast sort of stuff. And sorry,
100-footers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so they have got every ship of that size, you have maybe 5 cabins, kind of thing. So they're big enough for passengers and a crew and all that kind of stuff, and they go in like unique places too. Like they don't tend to. They've got some of the larger ships that do the, some of these ones you normally would see in the Caribbean and stuff like that, but they tend to go into different sort of locales that other ships don't go. I want to go. I want to go to South America. South America. South South. I want to go to Antarctica. I thought that would be cool.
Yeah.
Because there's only one cruise line I think out of Chile that does that. But it's kind of fun. So we should make a world tour of this, boys. Drinking beer in every single time zone would be great.
Have you ever heard of a documentary called Berserk in Antarctica?
Berserk in Antarctica? No.
It's awesome. It's a couple of Norwegian guys the younger guys, like they were in their 20s. They didn't feel like they had anything really going with like modern society wasn't doing it for them. They were feeling like this isn't for us. This is garbage. This is bullshit. We want to do something that's exciting. And so what they did is they took a fishing boat from Norway and took across the Atlantic.
Holy crap!
And all the way to the Antarctic. And the documentary is that journey. And it's not cinematically shot or anything like that. It's just one guy with a camera from Norway who took a fishing boat to Antarctica. It's supposed to be awesome. I haven't seen it. I've friends that have seen it who tell me.
You know what? I think Antarctica would be a great place to put a brewery. I mean, it's an untapped market. I mean,
there's like 30 people there.
There's always that.
In one location.
They'd only come to you, right?
Okay, whoa. There's 30 people there, but one of them is Kurt Russell.
There you go.
And you're not quite sure if it is Kurt Russell.
Well,
I like this description of the documentary you're talking about. It's called "When Antarctica Hits You with the Worst Storm in Decades, Sinks Your Boat, Drowns Your Crew. There's only one way to react: get out of their ship and go back for more." The polar expedition that went berserk. I want to see this now. I think that would be brilliant.
So now my other observation is the other thing that I really want to do. And I've been, as you may or may not know, I was scratching away at what might be a proper history, could end up as a novel, but lately I've been imagining it as series television. And what I want to do is I want to do a story set in the late 17th, perhaps early 18th century. And I want to get an actual historical tall ship.
Okay.
For filming purposes, of course. But in the process of making this film, I want to ride around on one of those boats.
That would be cool. So, isn't there only like 2 of those kinds of ships that offer that kind of thing?
Oh shit! No, there's tons.
Oh yeah.
No. Replica ships are an interesting corner of nothing like a commercial market. Like it's not something you do to make fucking cash hand over fist. But for those that love it, for those that care, for those that are interested, yeah, no, it's out there. And there's a certain prestige factor which lends itself to government grants and that sort of thing. And there are a lot of nations that want to see these kind of things done for historical purposes, right?
Right.
And then there's the film industry, which is why I went there first, because they've got, they are one of the few people that have a financial incentive to pursue that line of boat building.
I mean, that would actually be very cool because I think that I remember a number of years ago, maybe at least 10, 15 years ago, they were in Vancouver here. They had this big festival called the Sea Festival or something like that. And it was a complete clusterfuck. It was nothing went right. It was they ran out of money like right out of the gate. And the festival never really ended up happening. For the stuff that did happen, a lot of people never got paid. All this kind of stuff. And it was supposed to be like it ran from Vancouver to Steveston to, it was basically all over the place. And one of the big deals was having a bunch of these tall masted ships coming into town. And they wanted to have them down by Science World because at the time there was a casino down there and they were funding a lot of this. And they wanted some of these ships to come and hang out by the casino. And they were really insistent like it was in the news that they were trying to get this thing to happen. The problem is there's a few bridges in the way that are not tall enough for that kind of stuff. So they never actually got anywhere. They had to stay, I think, at the Canada Place on the north part of the peninsula there. But really, I don't know. It was sort of, it had this real imagination, all this kind of old historical sort of vessels and that kind of stuff, and it was really exciting. And then, of course, it didn't happen that easily. So I don't know. I kind of wish that. What was the Star Trek Generations, where in order to escape, they would have this USS Enterprise in the holodeck, and they're talking about how it's real freedom to be on the ocean in these kinds of ships because no one can find you or reach you or get to you. It's just you and the ocean and the people you're with, and making sure you don't die. But yeah,
depending on what sort of crew you have.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah,
they of course could throw you overboard.
If you've ever heard of cabin fever, you ask yourself why they call the rooms on ships cabins.
It's so true. It's so true. But I don't know. I guess that I'm assuming, Locke, you've been on a cruise. Maybe not.
No, I've never been on a cruise. I watched The Love Boat when I was a kid. So
yeah,
I know what cruises are. I've heard reports back on cruises from people who go on cruises. Never been my thing. I've never gone on a cruise. Now that said, I do happen to treasure more than most things in the world the ferry ride between Vancouver and Victoria that goes through.
I mean, technically, that's a cruise.
Is it really?
I mean, it's you're on a boat for an hour and a half. It's not so bad.
So, I mean, the thing is, to me, if you're on a boat, going on a cruise sounds like the destination is unimportant. I like boating trips where you're actually using boats to go from point A to point B.
I don't think any boat that serves something called a sunshine breakfast needs to be in the same spoken in the same breath as a cruise.
Well, the first cruise I ever went on was in 1995, and I went around Hawaii. And I enjoyed that cruise because I liked the ship that we were on, because the cruise line had two of the same. They were basically identical ships that had been around since, like, if I remember correctly, it was like since the 40s. And it was an older boat, of course, and whatnot. But I had this romantic notion of at one point of after the cruise going, I would totally buy a boat like that. They can't be that expensive really when they get rid of them for scrap or whatever. So you could spend a few $1 million to refurbish it and have it, parked in the harbor in Victoria. And
doesn't really go well.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, let's not talk about the asbestos, but unfortunately, the ship actually made it all the way to. One of the ships was purchased by the Norwegian Cruise Line. The other one made it as far as being refurbished somewhat in South America, and then it eventually was towed for scrap to go back, and then conveniently sank just north of Hawaii. So when it was being towed, so like it was being like it had been, most of the stuff had been stripped off of it, so it was just more of a hull than anything. But I don't know. I my dreams sank that day when the boat that I wanted to buy went to the bottom.
They say that boats are merely a hole in the water that you throw money into.
Well, yeah, exactly. But it would have been my hole with my water.
It
Wait,
sounds
that
like
came
the
out wrong.
condition that was in is actually what you might describe as a hulk.
Yeah.
Hulks are those hulls that are no longer equipped to move around on their own. And those, interestingly, were used in the American Revolution by us, the British, as prisons. So those comments that joining the Navy is being sent to prison with the option of drowning. Not far from the truth there.
Yeah, here we go. I found the ship. It sank in 1996 when it took on water while it was being towed by a tug, and then they cut it loose and it went down.
Mm.
I loved that ship for some reason. I don't know why. It was a piece of junk.
The BC Ferry catamarans. Remember those?
Oh yeah, the fast cats.
Yes, they were for sale
pit.
for pretty cheap. Like
I want to say, eventually got sold for like less than 10 million.
Yeah, I mean, for what they were sold really cheap.
Yeah, because I mean, with the cost of development and all that kind of stuff, it took it. Yeah, I think they were only one of them was in service. Didn't they make more than one? And only one actually was.
They made two. They made two.
Did they both go into service?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I know they sat in Richmond at some point. Like I remember the what was it called? The Pacific Cat class ferry. That's what it was. And apparently, let's see. So cost $463 million for 3 vessels.
Oh, there's 3
at $150 million apiece. 3 of them were completed. The what were they actually called? Do you remember what they were called?
No. Like, you mean their christened names?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no memory of what they were called.
No,
but anyway, so basically, anyway, they got sold at some point. They were trying to sell them for like $100 million or something.
But I think they went for way less than that.
They were sold to the Washington Marine Group for $20 million.
Oh, okay.
4.2% of what it cost to build them. And then they sold them to a Middle East.
It's called depreciation.
Oh wow, they were sold to the UAE, and now they were donated to the Egyptian government. What? What are they doing?
So, have these things ever been in service to actually move people?
I don't, because they were going to be the plan was to turn them into luxury yachts when they got sold to
yes. So and that was kind of what I was going at here. It's like if you wanted to buy a luxury yacht on the cheap, those fast cats would have been the way to do it.
They totally would have been. So so they got sold in 2009 to the UAE, and then there was no plan for them. They just bought them. But I want to know what they were thinking of putting casinos on them, but I guess that never happened.
Yeah.
But
they can always use them to vex archaeologists by burying them next to pyramids.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's. But I'm very curious as to where in Egypt are they?
Here's an interesting thought. What if they've been sold to some sort of an enemy nation, and they use these things to launch an attack against Canada? They like arm them to the teeth.
Oh, here we go. They were called the Pacific Cat Explorer, the Pacific Cat Discovery, and the Pacific Cat Voyager. Were these like Star Trek people? Like, what was this?
This is an interesting question. I have never in my life actually heard of, I don't think, a military catamaran. Do they exist?
I don't know.
That's a good question. Apparently, at the time when the fast ferries were finally sold in 2009, the provincial budget declared a $52 million loss on the project. I really want to know where they went. I really want to know. I'm really very curious. What happened to the Pacific Cat Explorer? But yeah, God, we're digging into the history of BC now. That's so. But you're right. I would love to have had those 3 vessels and started up my own pirate, West Coast pirate.
And
society.
getting back to sort of like the whole cruise ship thing, you want to know a cruise ship idea?
Saskatchewan?
Pirates of the Saskatchewan.
That would start Pirates of the Saskatchewan. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
That would like sell like gangbusters if you created a cruise ship thing that was sort of like Star Trek themed, where all the workers on there wore Starfleet uniforms, and like you gave it sort of like the name of like USS Enterprise or whatever, and you go out there, and then it's like red alert, we've encountered a Klingon vessel, and then like there's a Klingon cruise ship that's out there, and they battle each other. I think people would get a real kick out of that.
I found them.
You found the catamarans?
Yep, they're in port of Alexandria, and they're just sitting there. Apparently, they're mothballed in the Middle East. That is the best thing ever. And these are photographs that I found. I'm just putting it up now. These are photographs, supposedly from 2019.
Huh.
And apparently they still have the BC Ferries paint on them.
What?
Jesus.
They're still painted with BC Ferry look. Yeah, look at them.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow, that is hilarious. So this is apparently where they are as of apparently they've been there since 2015.
Wow.
That is so bizarre.
And incidentally, the BC Ferry paint on them is the old BC Ferry paint.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's definitely not a new setup. I'm bringing up my Google Maps. I just want to see if I can still see them where they are pictured. And maybe they've moved on. They might have been moved away or sunk or something. Who knows? That's
you
really
sunk my catamaran.
What a waste. What a total waste. I mean, those things could have been amazing. Granted, they would have been fuel hogs and all that kind of stuff. But those are the days, boys. Those are the days.
I don't understand why they failed here.
Mainly environmental reasons.
My observation is that British Columbia was largely populated by Scots, who were notably frugal, and you gotta wonder who's going to pay for the fast cat when you can take the slow one at a lower price.
Well, I remember that the the main reason seemed to be the fact that they couldn't go at the speed that they were designed for. Because I seem to remember when they were launched, they had to redo some of the docks to make sure that they all matched, and then the wake that they created was somehow bad for the shorelines, so they had to go slower, which meant they used more fuel and they became less efficient. Yada yada yada. So it was all these things that piled up um, against like the government at the time, and they basically had to cut their losses and run. I mean, that there was an election coming up, I seem to remember, but yeah, I mean, what can you do? I mean, it's unfortunate that these never really got their due, I think. But
how much was the project pushed as an election promise?
That I don't know. I mean, I remember it was a big deal for a little while, but mainly because it was costing too much, I think.
I don't think it was pushed, if memory serves, I don't think it was pushed at all as an election promise. I think it became a bit of an albatross around the necks of the presiding government as an election was looming.
Yeah.
And I think that I think the potential of these things was actually really quite high, but the official opposition at the time it was too juicy for them to sink their teeth into, and basically hung the presiding government at the time with them. If memories,
I think your metaphor's got a little mix there, but the juicy hung albatross on his neck.
Yeah.
Totally worth it. Yeah, actually, no, I found them. This is.
Oh,
when was this? When was this taken? So this is. Oh, this is the same one. So basically, in 2019, they were still there, sitting in the same spot. They're just moored, not doing much. That's too bad.
Yeah.
That is really too bad, because I have this romantic.
You gotta feel sorry for the fucking engineers. Like they must have put
totally
soul into that, right?
I wonder if the sunshine breakfast on them is still edible.
Probably. I mean, really, you think about it. How does that actually go bad? I mean, it doesn't. As far as
it doesn't.
Aware. So. Yeah, they're all still there. They're still.
I found a sunshine breakfast from 1986.
Hey, 86 was a good year for sunshine breakfast.
I understand it totally was. Yeah, I think that it was something. It was the eggs. You know how they did the eggs, and then you touch them, they'd explode, and like just juice themselves all over the place with whatever was put on top.
Ew.
And then you just exactly.
Gross.
I'm just saying. Just saying that was totally a.
Yeah.
I think I've only ever had a dozen of them over the years, but I don't think I would ever have one again. I don't know.
No.
I don't. I feel like I must have had one.
Probably. I don't recall ever having one.
Like the buffet.
Oh yeah. If I go on the ferry and I'm gonna eat, especially if it's at breakfast, I'm going on the buffet. Easy.
Okay.
It costs a little bit more, but you get like your own table with a fairly comfortable seat. You can stay there for the duration of the trip, and it's all you can eat. You can keep going, getting cups of coffee.
Travel. Yeah.
I would agree. That is definitely the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On that note, boys, it's been about an hour.
Sweet.
My cider is gone. Your beer is probably finished.
My beer is done. It's been long done.
So we will
good
see
job,
you on next Wednesday. Good job, Superflex. Good job, Flying Monkeys. Good job,
Shane.
Us here. But overall, yeah, I enjoyed this.
Good.
Very good.
I'm very relaxed now. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to spread the word about the show. There's all the social media stuff that, of course, you can do. which, as always, you can follow us here on the tweeters. And of course, you can follow us elsewhere as well, because we're just that kind of people.
And if you want, you can follow Julie around too, but you have to go to Sunshine Coast.
You have to go to the Sunshine Coast to do that. All you can eat.
Do they have breakfast? Do they have the Sunshine Breakfast on the Sunshine Coast?
Probably not.
Probably what it was named.
Checking.
It's probably what it was named for.
Exactly. They probably built it in factories in the Sunshine Coast.
On that note.